Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're doing our first impressions on Roll for the Galaxy.
Yes.
This was one that took us a little bit of time to get played.
It was on the shelf of shame for quite a while.
It was. And I think that was mostly because when you looked at one point, when you opened the box, it was about, I don't know how many stacks of cardboard, because this game is just mainly a lot of tiles, but
Yep.
and a lot of dice too, but a lot of tiles and
Yes.
it's a lot of symbology. So it looks very overwhelming at first.
Yes.
Um,
Especially, when just the cardboard sheets, and we
Mhm.
did finally pop those out. Then it was just a whole mountain of cardboard tiles, which was even
Mhm.
more intimidating.
right.
And then we finally got it played.
We got it to the table because
See.
this was one that I would say was probably middle of the road for me,
Oh.
for excitement wise going into it.
Yeah.
Just because knew it had a lot of dice. I like games where you get to roll dice quite a bit, and I think it's pretty well rated on Board Game Geek. So
I think both this and Race for the Galaxy have been pretty well liked, and I think there's even discussions of which is actually better, and among the Dice Tower crew, I know some prefer one, some prefer the other, so it's always a good sign when two highly rated games are that close, especially for a sequel, which sometimes isn't really the best.
Right. Because we have not. Well, I have not played Race for the Galaxy, so we don't really know how that one plays, how different it is. I guess What were your thoughts going into it?
I was pretty excited.
Okay.
I like the cover quite a bit, or at least it has me interested. Just,
I would say that wasn't a selling point for me.
I don't know. I think just that glowing die there just gets me excited about dice. I love dice and custom dice, and that's just kind of what this cover makes me think of.
Okay.
And
because I would say that it's a fine cover, but it's never been one that got me excited.
Yeah.
You can say how that made you feel.
No, it made me feel very, very excited.
Very comfortable and excited.
But yeah, just dice. I love dice. I love custom dice. Race for the Galaxy, which I would think they'd be similar kind of in concept. Didn't have me very excited, other than just people talk highly of it. But then a dice version that is also highly regarded. I was pretty into that.
Okay.
So yeah, a little more excited than you, it sounds like, for it.
So I went into it kind of middle of the road. It sounds like you went into it maybe not your peak excitement of a game, but maybe a little bit above average, possibly. So we got it to the table. I don't think we ended up. We've only played it one time, and there were, I think, a couple things that weren't played exactly right.
Yeah.
But I don't think too much of it was. It didn't really influence or affect kind of the game itself and how it was being played. Just a couple minor things.
Yeah, I had missed a rule where if you can't activate or can't use the dice, that they just go back into your cup instead of somewhere where they have to rest and you have to pay to get them back in your cup. So I went the first couple turns just being very low on dice, because of that. But I did end up winning, so that didn't matter.
Wow,
even with that huge disadvantage, I was able to pull it off. But yeah, just a couple rules mistakes, but we got it figured out pretty early on. Some of those like that, bigger one. After the first play, I guess I didn't know what to expect going into it. Like actually gameplay wise, I was just excited about a dice game. And I think it probably lived up to my expectations.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the dice play and kind of the set of actions. People say Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition kind of uses it from Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy. I'm guessing they both feature that, where players choose which action, like of 5 or 6 options that they want to use, and everyone gets to use those actions that round.
Mhm.
And in a 2-player game, there was an extra dummy die that would add an additional one, possibly, that we would activate throughout the round. But yeah, I really like the kind of dice of you roll them all, the symbols allocate to the actions, and you choose one die to activate one of the actions above it. And you can possibly manipulate the dice and move them around, and there's wild symbols, but I just thought that was really cool to determine, like, if you have a lot of one symbol, you might want to activate that, but maybe that's not really what you want to do right now.
Right.
Because I know there were a couple times where, like, I'd get, like, 3 eyeballs, and I'd be like, I don't really want to do that right now.
Right.
I don't need to. So then it's like, okay, I can spend some dice to manipulate those and move them over to other columns, or move one a turn over to another column. And when you allocate to the top row, you can use any die face, which is awesome. That you don't have to be limited to, it has to match here and it has to match there. I really like that. But yeah, I just really like that core of the game, and kind of, well, the tiles they seem kind of hard to build, some of them, like the 6 cost ones.
Right.
And I'm like, that just really drains your dice.
Right.
And it's like,
Dedicate a lot
at the point where one turn I was just rolling one die, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to allocate it to that action just to put one on there.
Right.
So I was pretty much throwing away an entire round just for that, which is probably not the best strategy, but it's what I had to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I guess you could talk. I've been going on and on.
No, I think that was all good stuff, and yeah, I think that the eye thing, I had like every one of my die but one, the first round that I had in my cup were eyes, and then I thought, well, that's not going to be good because I'm going to have them all allocated.
Yeah.
But I think at that point I had forgotten that you could take it as
Too
money, because then it would have worked out. And that probably is what I should have done the first round, looking back at it. But yeah, not knowing that was a small thing as well, or I think I knew it, I just had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, everything you said, I totally agree with. And yeah, I think this is probably one of those games where I think it benefits you to play it a few times, and get a little more familiar with the dice, because I felt like this time that I was playing it, there is a table on the bottom
Like the
that
different
kind of
faces.
says, the allocation on each die, what the faces are, and I feel like I didn't like base anything that I was doing off of that.
I just assumed that colored dice are always going to be better than just the plain dice you start with, but they don't have any special symbols.
Right.
There's nothing on a colored die that's different from the white die, except maybe the wild. I don't know if that's on the white die.
I
don't think so.
I don't think so.
But other than that, it's just going to be familiar symbols. I assume there would be a lot more complicated, unique symbols, but there wasn't.
Right.
Which I think really helps.
It's
the game.
good, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, because I was saving my red die, I'm like, oh, I can save one of these is going to go back in the cup, one of them's not, for like the moving. I'm like, I'll just keep the red die because it's the colored one. But then it actually didn't have the icon for the action that I was actually going for. I'm like, well, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
But yeah, so definitely with more time, you get to know kind of what the tiles can do and kind of the makeup of the dice.
Right, yeah. So I'd agree. I think this one probably needs more plays to really know kind of a few of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good time with it this first time. I don't know that I ever felt like I had troubles with paying for the tiles, but I also didn't. I think I only had one that was worth 6.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of a little bit later on, so I kind of had built up more dice that I could use towards it.
Yeah.
So I guess I did not feel that, but I could see yours was right away.
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, you probably wouldn't have had many dice. So I think that's just one of those things of kind of, like I said, knowing the game more and playing it a little bit more. You kind of maybe get a better feel for some of those things. But yeah, I thought it probably exceeded my expectations. But like I said, it probably didn't go into it with like super high expectations, but just kind of middle of the road. So and it outdid those. So thought it was pretty solid, and I look forward to playing this one some more and getting to know it a little bit better. And
yeah, for sure. It's definitely not as like thinky and crunchy as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's what I was a little bit worried about that.
Like this is I mean, it's not quite a gateway game, but I think it could be next step if you're taught by someone who knows the game.
Right. I would agree. Because, yeah, it's not. It says 45 minutes on the box, and probably when you
Yeah.
know how to play it, that's probably right. Because, I don't know. To me, it looks like one that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah, once you get going, I can see why, obviously, they weren't going to call this one Race for the Galaxy, but it is a bit of a race as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
Only, like you said, the die version of Race for the Galaxy. So,
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, first impression number rating, I would probably give this an 8.5, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was coming in at probably a 7.25, 7.5. Kind of one of those that I'll definitely play. And I am looking forward to hopefully getting to the table again sooner than later, just because it is a little bit of a shorter game as well, and kind of maybe playing it with Michaela and whatnot, and seeing what she thinks of it. So yeah, see if it'll get to the table a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I think that's kind of our initial thoughts. That I think mine would likely only go up a little bit higher once I kind of have a better feel, like you said, on the tiles and stuff, and the dice. It'll be
Yeah, I feel like it could go up with more plays, but also in the long term, just because the dice aren't super unique, where something like Kubitos, which I feel kind of give it a similar feel with the kind of pool building of dice. Those all have unique abilities, or these pretty much are a different percentage
That's true.
of the symbols, the same symbols from die to die. I feel like it might lack a little flavor there.
Right. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
But that's just long-term thinking.
But,
as of right now, obviously,
Right.
fresh and
I think we
not
could probably
getting
get at
old
least
anytime
10,
soon.
20 plays in it before we start thinking that. So,
Yep.
yeah, definitely excited for more plays. But yeah, if you want to see other First Imps unboxing videos, we should have an unboxing of this. If you kind of want to see a little bit of that, check that out on the channel. But otherwise, we hope to see you on the next video. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
on our content.